Okay, I apologize about the slight clickbait. I'm hopefully not saying goodbye to you, but goodbye to my real job. My name is James Lee. Welcome to my channel 5149, where I talk business, politics, society, and today's video is different. It's different than usual, one that I've been prepping for weeks, months now really, which is James says goodbye to corporate America. If you've been a part of the 5149 community and been watching my videos for a while now, you'll know some of this already. But if you're new, I have been making YouTube videos for a few years now, and for the last year, contributing segments on Crystal Ball and Sagar and Jetty's show Breaking Points, all while still working full-time in a quote-unquote real job as a business consultant, which is a common job for many people coming out of the business school pipeline like myself. No, not McKinsey, like our esteemed Transportation Secretary, Mr. Buttigieg, but one of these other ones. But no longer. So yeah, today I wanted to take a few minutes to share with you some of the things about the work that I did, share with you some personal insights, and why I ultimately could not continue to do that work. Now I have to be a little bit careful with the details so I don't get sued. You'll know what I mean when we get to that part. All right, so business consultant, very amorphous job title, but what I specialized in was supply chain, specifically inventory management. Basically, what I was doing was helping companies optimize their inventory levels. For example, figuring out when they should reorder, how much safety stock they should carry to mitigate stockouts, which nodes of the supply chain is most optimum to hold inventory. Boring, but kind of important for operating a sound business, in my opinion. And for the first couple of years, it was actually a lot of fun. I got to travel to manufacturing plants in all kinds of different places, both in the US, some internationally, doing workshops and trainings, working with people at plants to improve operations. It was cool. But as I progressed, I was pulled into more strategic projects, working less with manufacturing plant colleagues and more with corporate senior directors, VPs, all the way up to even the C-suite. And then it became much less about operational improvements and much more about financial engineering within the area of supply chain. For example, there's this one project working for this company. Can't say the name of the company, obviously, but they make all kinds of different products, some of which you see here on your screen: masks, tape, adhesives, etc. And we were hired by the VP of supply chain to just cut raw material inventory before year-end reporting. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but basically nothing strategic about it, purely financially motivated. And I remember being on the phone with some plant colleagues, and they were like, if you keep asking us to reduce inventory, we're at risk of shutting down whole entire manufacturing lines, which will have both upstream and downstream effects throughout the entire supply chain and could potentially result in major disruptions. The stuff that I'm sure you have heard about or even experienced firsthand in the last couple of years while you're out shopping, right? This is a great article from David Dayen at the American Prospect that goes into how messed up our supply chain is and how corporate greed and financialization is in large part responsible. It's true, I saw it firsthand, and I just kept thinking, I'm just a cog in a machine that I'm actively speaking out against. It sucked. Or another example, big US biopharma manufacturer, one with robust production capabilities, and we just kept churning out slides and presentations advising them to outsource their manufacturing. It was all about gaming Wall Street, right? They love this idea of being asset light, a buzzword for basically a business which markets and sells products and services without making anything or owning anything other than the IP itself. In a lot of situations, probably can get away with this kind of business model, but lots can go wrong here, aka the recent disaster at Boeing. These kinds of decisions made in a vacuum have real-life consequences. And I actually said this to some pretty senior people. Financial engineering, right, sounds really good and all, but are we not at all concerned about the downsides of outsourcing the manufacturing of the most important parts of the drug? Couldn't that result in quality risks or supply risks, basically weaken the resiliency of their entire supply chain? I don't know. And perhaps the weirdest situation I encountered, this one I have to really be careful speaking about. This is back in early 2022. I was on a team that did an end-to-end inventory assessment for the biggest products of this biopharma manufacturer. Now, if you remember, over the past couple years, all of us were highly encouraged to engage in a particular form of pharmaceutical intervention. And if we didn't, we were irresponsible or even bad people. Let's just leave it at that. But anyway, it just so happens that the scope of our project included looking into the supply chain of one of these highly promoted products. And we discovered that a significant portion of the inventory of this product at the time, once again, this was early 2022, didn't have any demand against it, meaning that there were no customers for it. And not a few weeks later, the CEO of said company comes on national television and does a whole media tour to say, it's best if we take more of this drug, or else bad stuff might happen to you. I don't know if those things are connected. I'm not privy to those conversations, way above my pay grade, but it didn't give me a good feeling. Let's just put it that way. Those are just some of the more egregious examples I can think of right now that I can personally tell you about. But in general, it's a lot more mundane than that, I think. It's just a bunch of people, mostly good people, incentivized to work within a system that is what I think responsible for the gradual hollowing out of America's institutions and the country's business and societal infrastructure in exchange for short-term corporate profits and returns. Most of them are unaware or unbothered by these types of long-term consequences. Ultimately, for me, regardless of how much financial security the job gave me, I could not continue to be an active participant in perpetuating the system I speak out so passionately against. It's sort of a privileged position to be in, a choice that not everyone can make. I realize that, so nothing against other folks. But if I have the opportunity to not be in that environment, I think I have to take it. So that's kind of where I am today. And so forgive me for today's video. I don't often like talking about myself on this channel. It kind of makes me uncomfortable to do so, because really my goal going forward on this channel is just to continue to bring you information that I think is important, tell you what I think, hopefully be a part of your regular media diet to help you figure out what's really going on in the world and help you make the best decision possible for you so that you can live the best life possible, whatever you think that might look like. So thank you so much for listening, and if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me, and maybe to celebrate a milestone in the future, something like 100K subs. If I ever do get there, I'll do a Q&A type video for you. Next week, I'll be back to my regularly scheduled programming, telling the truth to the best of my ability to help weaken the lies. And if you want to support me, all I ask is that you take a second to like this video, share it with people you know, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so we are in each other's lives. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and I'll see you next week.